This man picks up a furry creature and thinks it's a baby bird. On closer inspection, he saw that it had a nose and a mouth like a child. He didn't know where it had come from and took it home first. He told his wife that he had found a baby. His wife was stunned for a moment. Then she took a fruit bowl and put a cloth on it and put the baby in it. The couple looked at the little one and began to think, what kind of bird is it? A magpie or a pachyderm? Or a new species of birdman? They decided to keep her with them for now and call her Sia. As the couple had never had any children, they treated CIA like their own. They bought a complete baby kit, a Barbie doll, and took the clothes off and made them the size of CIA's body. Then they set up the cot and put him in it. Sia was very well looked after. But as a normal child you can't have wings. So the wife took out an old sock and sewed a little cloak for Sia to wear so that no one could see her little wings. Then the wife pushed the pram into the town. The women were curious to see the couple's adopted daughter. When they saw how cute CIA was and tried to hold her, the wife pushed the carriage away. After living together for a while, CIA grew quickly, although she was still small enough to fit on a fruit bowl. She wore 2 cute braids and a cute dress and followed her mother around. Suddenly she turns her head and realizes she's gone. On second glance, it turns out that CIA has a talent for birds and has learned to fly low at a very young age. At night, she would sneak up to her parents and lie down between them to sleep with them. During the day, CIA would compete with the chicks to see who had the bigger wings. This day, when she saw her dad approaching, CIA said, this made his wife very happy. It was the first thing the child had ever said. Then CIA said something else. Immediately, the wife got excited and said that Sia must be calling her mom. She thought that Sia was learning to speak like a human, and the husband said that it was probably their bird language and that she wasn't actually calling us at all. But the wife decided to take the teaching seriously anyway, and every day she taught Sia a few words over and over again. And Sia kept learning carefully. But it seemed that no matter how she learned, she couldn't pronounce her mother's voice. Gradually, the wife began to complain to her husband about what she thought was a speech impediment. So she decided to change the goal of her studies. Jenny had a plate of worms in front of her. She shrank straight away. Immediately afterwards, she saw the small protein-rich spiders on the floor and she squatted down and started pecking at them with her mouth. It's the sort of thing parents are used to, because CIA was not human but a bird. No one knew where she came from. The couple adopted CIA and took care of her as if she were their own child. Gradually they realized that Sia had a nature that could not be changed. She can't talk and she likes to eat bugs. She is taught to use a knife and fork with her feet and can't learn to do it at all. The only thing she might have been able to do was fly. She always liked to look out of the window and try to feel the world. But her mother was always worried about how she would get on with her life if she left with only her wings. Her father said that her wings would allow her to do things at height that others could not do, so there was no need to worry. And when CIA is older, her wife will take her out on the streets alone. At the moment, CIA and her mother are sitting in the restaurant in their cloaks, like a normal mother and daughter. At that moment, a hunter with his prey of geese passes by the mother and daughter. Afraid that Sia might be frightened, the wife rushed her to the bathroom so she could hide for a while. But when the wife was ready to collect Sia, she found only a pair of shoes left in the toilet. Sia had flown away from the window. The wife kept calling out to CIA, but she refused to stop. Desperate to be free, after flying for some distance, Sia finally fell out of the sky and landed on a mattress. This is a little Jenny's room. A child's imagination is boundless, so she wasn't surprised by CIA's wings. Instead, she wondered how she could have wings. She built a bird's nest like a bird hatching an egg and sat the egg down under her bottom. But apparently it broke immediately. Then Jenny wants to take CIA to the woods to teach her to fly. So CIA put on her ill-fitting shoes and was carried by Jenny to the tree. Sia soon flaps her wings and flies up to a branch high up in the trees. Jenny, unable to climb up, decided to sleep and go back to the tree tomorrow to learn from her. But when she woke up the next day, she couldn't find Sia. Meanwhile, the couple who had found CIA had flown away, grabbed their bags and started looking south for CIA. They eventually meet up with little Jenny. The winged girl kept talking bird language. The birds in the trees were responding to her. But Jenny was getting happier and almost danced. So the birds got tired of her talking and left first. Jenny was puzzled and then she flew off after them. At that moment the hunters were shooting in the forest. A few people were shocked and they were afraid that the hunter would kill the one they were looking for. So they looked everywhere. Jenny saw a blue cloak fly into the well. She thought it was CIA and went after her. Then Jenny followed the rope to the bottom of the well. She kept feeling around but saw nothing, so it didn't look like CIA was here. But when she climbed out of the well, she was cold and dirty. so they had to stay at the hotel for the time being. It was raining heavily outside and the couple were worried if CIA had gotten out of the rain in time, and CIA sat dumbly on the ground, soaked to the skin. At the end of the night she sneaks under the bed in the hotel and is discovered by little Jenny. She scolded CIA for sneaking away as a friend. She had to say goodbye next time. Jenny then noticed that CIA was cold and would catch a cold, so Jenny tucked her in and sang her a song to put her to bed. By the next morning, Jenny told the couple that they had found CIA. When they arrived to see the baby, they were delighted that CIA had flown out of the window again. Sia must not have gone far, so they packed their bags again and left the hotel to look for her. They climbed the trees and crossed the river but found nothing, so they tried to set her free. They decided to go home, but on the way back the wife spotted CIA. They were so excited they went after her again. It was their last chance, for CIA was about to follow the geese across the sea on their new journey. But by the time the couple arrived it was too late and CIA had already flown away from the coast. Looking out over the endless sea, the wife and husband thought it was all over. And just then, CIA had another accident. She fell into the water and drifted back to the shore. When the husband found her, he brought her back and the family was finally reunited. In the evening, the couple decided to try to feel their daughter's way of life. They added a bug deluxe to their dinner. The wife was going to let CIA use the fork again, as was her habit, but she let her daughter live her life the way she wanted to. So for the first time, CIA was allowed to eat without a knife and fork. Their daughter was found and they jumped for joy. They were all in a state of bliss. But after a while, Sia kept flinging herself at the window. She still wanted to fly out and experience the outside world. The couple understood what CIA wanted and decided to let her find freedom. They took the baby to the hillside and told her to go ahead. Sia smiled and said goodbye to her parents. Then she flapped her wings and flew further and further away, with her parents watching behind her. They knew that Sia would have to grow up and face the future on her own. Parental love is undoubtedly great, but sometimes too much protection can be a burden to a child. Each child is unique in his or her own way. Just as Sia's wings seemed useless and she was even looked at differently for being different. But she has something that all children dream of but cannot do. So true love is learning to let go. Letting children fly in their own little world.